break that. We need to break the mindset that says, if we wanted to do good, it's separate from making money.
Hi, welcome to the Blockchain for Humanity Fireside Chat. Today, we have Ashish Gadnis. He's the co-founder and CEO of BanQu.
And our vision is simple, right? 100 million people enabled out of poverty and $100 million in revenue.
He has been recognized for groundbreaking for-profit and for-purpose innovation. We're going to hear much about this today.
And I think that's kind of, I'll give you another example, right? If you talk to Japan Tobacco, they're a client of ours, and this is public information because we're working with them to reduce child labor in multiple countries. And they are very simple and clear about it. They're like, we use BanQu because it allows us to make sure that the kids are in school. And if kids are not in school, which means they're in child labor, it is going to hurt our supply chain, right? So the doing good is children should be in class. It's just a table stakes for them, right? And what I'm trying to always have that tension, which is I force the CEOs. I ask a simple question. I said, name one farmer in your supply chain. Most CEOs can't. Yet they will walk around with a fair trade label on the bag of coffee. And and I'm not trying to shame anybody, honestly, but I'm like, come on, right? You don't claim social good if you cannot name one recycler. And yours is the most used plastic or cardboard that is sitting on the streets from Brazil to India.
That's interesting, and I love the fact that you brought the Japan Tobacco International example, because could come to mind is as well, okay, so you're cleaning my, let's say, my supply chain, child labor, but are we really solving a problem there? Like, for example, removing these children from this, supply chain, does that create another problem? Because if you tell me, well, we're going to pay exactly the same thing for these guys to go to school, then I will say, well, maybe that is a solution. But, please tell me what.
And it has to be an ecosystem, right? Yeah. So what we've done is, Japan Tobacco, it's an ecosystem, right? So it's a layered problem. So you have to solve that the kid is not in the field. So that's where we come in. Second, you then build an ecosystem where the farming family, the household, right, has this economic passport, right? Which is basically they are enabled because now their yield can get better. They have better access to inputs. And now you have a correlation that says, hey, look, if you continue to use children in your supply chain, I'm not going to buy your crop, right? Whereas in the old days, what would happen, you'd bring an NGO, they'd run a report, they'll say, 30% instances of child labor. But at the end of the day, you haven't aligned the incentives, right? But if you sit down now and say, hey, your kid is in class, the mother or farmer can enroll in a supplementary business skills, and you have your crop supply chain, right? You put all that together, then it's an ecosystem. If you just take a point solution, it doesn't work. Whereas, I give a simple example. It's like if I said to you, Grace, hey, I am a watch company, but in order for you to buy the watch from me, walk a mile and pick up the leather. Walk another 3 miles, pick up the glass, and walk another 4 miles, pick up the battery, and then come to me. I'll assemble your watch and sell it to you. It doesn't work that way, correct? You walk into a watch store, the entire ecosystem has come to you in a watch, right? And if it's all come together to watch, well, why are we not doing the same with people that are marginalized? We right now tell that mother, says, well, your data is with this microfinance institution. Your data is with this foundation. Your data is sitting with this, coffee company. It doesn't, I didn't tell you to go 4 places so that I could build your watch and sell it back to you, right? So that's the philosophy.
That's understandable. Yes, I see where you're coming from. So the last question here,
yes,
to wrap up for this section, will be if you can give us a little bit of the characteristics that technology companies in our blockchain space will need to consider in order to create or transition in some cases, and I think most of them will have to be in the transition to a purpose-driven model that sees profit, purpose, impact, and scale.
Correct. I would say only two things, right? And we've learned it the hard way. One is don't build a company just because you want to build a company and you want to play the pity card, right? So I would really kind of give advice to tech companies is that a lot of tech companies have this entire I can build this amazing app, or for example, shoe company, right? You buy one pair of shoe, we'll give a pair of shoe to a poor kid in Africa. I'm like, no, you just destroyed the economy there, right? So that's kind of one unintended consequences. And then the second is don't fall in love with the technology. I would say that's the number one advice I'd give you, right? Because if you fall in love with your technology, you have compromised that mother. You've compromised that recycler, right? Never lose your, I use the word anchor. Right? When we hire new people or when I'm in team meetings, I said, guys, at the end of the day, when you go to bed tonight, ask yourself a very simple question. What you did today at BanQu, did it tie to the anchor? And the anchor is very simple. Did you do something to create equality for that mother on the streets of Colombia that's picking up bottles so that she can feed her child tonight, and it's not based in pity? If the answer is yes, go to bed. If the answer is no, stay up and figure it out.
Figure it out. Exactly. Keep working at it until you get it.
Absolutely. Right. Because it's poverty, in my opinion, or all these tension issues, right? They have a romance to it, right? And I honestly, I just hate that because, I meet a lot of people who have they claim they, opened a school in Kenya and they're feeding this village for the last 7 years. And I'm like, shame on you, right?
Okay.
Because the whole thing was driven with this pity lens, right? And when I look at a mother in Congo or the refugees or, recyclers in Colombia, I don't look at them with anything but equal pride, right? I'm like, you're a business person. I'm a businessman. You're going to sell your aluminum. You're going to sell your bottles that's going to go to Bavaria. Deal. Your past is your past. I can't change it. I understand your pain, but I'm nobody to give you a handout because that will then diminish your dignity.
I agree with you 100%. And I think that's probably one of the that makes us take the wrong approach. And
right.
When I looked at the CSR model, this corporate social responsibility, I almost start yawning every time I say that because I feel like it's like this thing, this very ineffective, slow moving type of program, well intended,
totally well intended,
very well intended, but it's not solving any problems. And as long as we keep treating this as a philanthropic mission, as a this is the good thing we need to do for the poor people, we won't be able to make any type of transformation, real transformation.
Exactly.
Which now we have the technology to do.
And now is more than ever, right? We're literally living in an unprecedented, very dangerous time, right?
Absolutely.
So I tell CEOs, you got to double down now, right?
Exactly.
You have to double down and say, I want to know who the miner is. I want to know who's picking up my plastic cans, right? I want to know the worker in the Bangladesh factory that made my jeans, right? And it's simple. But if you can't, then it's just lip service.
Exactly, it is. One thing that we do in Blockchain for Humanity when we interact with our social entrepreneurs or the people that are working in this business, the first thing we want to find out is how close are you to the problem? How does that problem?
Exactly. Right.
Right.
And if you can't live it, then don't do it.
You cannot describe it, if you cannot have that pain and understand how much it affects somebody else in that way that it affects you, then it's very very difficult to be able to scale something that has that particular.
Yes.
The other thing is this sort of going back to this CSR sort of model where the doing good part is always a box in that sort of chart, right? So it's right there. It's a box, and it has nothing to do with the rest of the organization.
It should be in your DNA.
Absolutely, but it has to be the core of your organization. It has to be the business model. It has to be the driver of you getting up, from bed every day.
Exactly.
For it, right? So that's what we're defining the purpose, and I see that you have defined that really, really well for you guys. So That's why I wanted to.
Right place at the right time. Very blessed.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. So this has been a wonderful experience for me. I think
thank you. Thank you.
we could go on and ask, talk about more things. And I think that there's always a possibility that we do another series with you.
Oh, absolutely. We'll continue to add examples and happy to share them.
That sounds wonderful. I want to wish you the best of luck in all the stuff that you're doing, your endeavors. Keep doing the great things you do.
Keep us in your prayers. We need it.
You're always me. So I know that you would get there, because people like you succeed in what they do. So keep it.
Thank you. Guys, thank you so much.